Good morning, everybody. Semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet and all things related to the carnivore diet and some miscellaneous other odds and ends. Today we're going to talk about a question that came up. Is the carnivore diet a fad diet? Most of you who know me know how I feel about that, but we're going to dive into it a little bit today. But first, there's a couple of other things I need to talk about. First off, welcome. If this is your first time here, or if you're a returning viewer, I want you to know I'm very glad you're here. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I'd like to remind you at this time that if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. It's free, doesn't cost you a thing. And it really does help me get the message out about what I'm trying to do here. And for those that don't know what I'm trying to do here, while yes, I do try to have some intelligent conversation while I take my walks, the primary purpose behind my channel is that, as you can tell from the thumbnail, I've lost a lot of weight. I'm getting physically fit. Sorta. But just watching me walk, you can see the progress that's being made. And that's the real purpose of the channel. I'm almost 60 years old, and I'm just trying to show people that it's never too late to take control of your own health. Stop waiting on the doctors to come up with some magic pill. Just get out there and take care of it yourself. Craig. Please. It's not that I'm against men's health. Not at all. But I believe in everyone's health. And I know they're doing a no-shave November for, to show support for men's health. And I appreciate what you guys are doing out there. It's not for me. Yes, I did have a beard once upon a time. If you go back and look at the channel, but you will find the explanation, which I'm going to give again here. I don't really like beards. They're itchy. Mine didn't look very good because it was half gray and half dark. Just wasn't a good look. I've never been a big fan of beards. The reason I grew that beard had nothing to do with wanting to try out a beard look. The beard that you see in my earliest videos were a result of, once again, me not having a ton of money, and one morning I was getting ready to go to the little part-time job that I could do after my heart surgery, and I was shaving at 4:30 in the morning because, I had to leave the house by 4:45. And I nicked myself. Well, I'd never nicked myself while I was on blood thinners before. And I tried everything I knew to get it to stop bleeding. I ended up having to just take a great big pile of gauze, press it to my chin, and then take a big thick piece of tape and run it all the way around the underneath side of my chin to hold that big wad of gauze in place. And off to work I went. And of course I got out to where I was going because I picked up a loaded van, drove it about 100 miles out to where it had to go the guy there came out and unloaded it, and then I drove back to Omaha empty, and that was my job. But I was talking to him, and he's like, my goodness, what did you do to your chin? And I said, nothing really, I just nicked myself shaving this morning and it won't stop bleeding. And when I did finally get back to town, got home, took the big wad of gauze off, it was about half soaked with blood. So it took, at the rate my chin was oozing, it probably continued to bleed for close to an hour into that gauze pack. So it was at that point, it's like, well, I can't have this. So I stopped shaving with a razor, and I had to wait a couple of months, because you have to understand, at that time, I'd gone from making a pretty healthy income as an over-the-road truck driver to my part-time job. I got to bring home about $250 a week. So that was a really big adjustment. And if my house and car hadn't been paid for, I'd have been in real trouble. But so there were a lot of adjustments to be made in my life. So I had to save up for a couple of months to be able to afford to buy the electric shaver that I now own. And a few months later, I realized that the trimmer that I'd bought for my hair, I could dial that way down and use that to sort of shave with. So what I'm doing now is, sometimes you'll see me with a little bit of stubble, but every Wednesday and Sunday, days that church happens, I knock it down with the trimmer, and then I use my electric razor to make myself look presentable. So that's why, no matter how much you ask, I'm not going to grow a beard out for November. I'm sorry. I will support you guys and cheer you on. And if you post pictures somewhere, let me know where you're posting them. I'll come cheer for those too. But I just cannot grow a beard, because I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way it feels. Okay, now let's get into today's topic. Got to turn my note sheet up the right way so I can actually see what I'm doing here. Is the carnivore diet a fad? I don't believe so. I believe it is an ancestrally appropriate way of eating. As I've said before, I'm not a huge fan of the word diet. But I mean, yes, technically, diet is the word for what we are eating to sustain ourselves. That's our diet. But over the past 30, 40, 50 years, diet has come to mean trying to lose some weight. And we'll get back to trying to lose some weight in just a minute. But if you look at the paleoanthropological studies and results that have been around for a long time, and in that community, it's not even an argument, it's just the way it is. Humans have been hyper-carnivore forever. Now, whether you believe, as I do, in creationism, or you believe in evolution, it can go, you know, we don't really know how far back it goes because there's no real time frame for a lot of things. So, I mean, is it 100,000 years ago? Or as some people, you know, is it several million years ago? But either way, they've done isotope studies on the bones of the oldest bones that they can find. And those results clearly show that the majority of the diet of those people was fatty meat. It just was. So it's not a fad diet. It's a diet, and again, understanding the difference of the word diet here. This is not a weight loss fad or a weight loss hack. It's a health optimization way of eating. You know, when we say we need to lose weight, and I have to admit, this next section is highly inspired by Dr. Barry. I want to make sure I give credit when I use other people's ideas. Hello, kids. But yeah, the preschool is out in the yard having their exercise time. But where was I? Oh yeah, when we say we need to lose weight, what we mean is we really need to get out there and lose some muscle mass, right? No, that's not what we mean. What else? Well, we say what we really mean when we say we need to lose weight is we want to get out there and lose some bone density so that our bones become brittle. No, that's not what we mean either. What we mean is we want to lose fat. Because if all you're interested in is the weight on the scale, and this thought is stolen from Bart K. Thank you, Mr. K. Professor K. Our weight is our mass being acted upon by gravity. That's what shows up on the scale. So if all you're really looking for is a lighter number on the scale, go ahead and cut off one of your arms. That'll certainly make you weigh less. But I don't think that's exactly what we want to do, so please don't. Don't go out there and cut off one of your arms. That's foolishness. What we really mean when we say we want to lose weight is we want to lose fat. We want to lose inappropriate fat. The extra fat we're carrying around. And it's been proven time and time again that the carnivore diet will help you lose that fat. Had to change hands for just a minute. I'm hoping someday my hands and arms get strong enough that I can go back to carrying my big camera and doing these walk and talks on my good camera. But we'll see. Of course, this selfie stick extended out with the phone on the end of it is not the most well balanced thing in the world. It exerts a lot of downward pressure, whereas my camera, once I load it up on my gimbal, is fairly well balanced. But it's still, I have to be holding it up like this the whole time. So we'll see. Right now I'm content to just carry my camera with me. Oh, one of the things I wanted to talk about earlier before I started into today's topic. I am back on the parking lot today instead of out at the park because I do have, don't really want to call her an advisor, but she is a professional hiker that is giving me some guidance. And she saw my hiking video yesterday. It came out yesterday. And she sent me an email. Said, "What in the world are you doing? Where's your backpack? Full of stuff you might need. Even on a short day hike, there are certain things that you really need to carry with you." And I didn't have any of that. And since my backpack is scheduled to come in today, in fact, just before I started today's video, I got a notice from Amazon that it was out for delivery. So we'll see. If it comes while I'm walking, I may add a quick backpack tour to the end of this video, or it may be in tomorrow's video. But she convinced me that being out there hiking on trails, even in the civilized areas of the state park over there, because I only did pass one person that day. He said, if you do get into trouble, where's your water? Where's your first aid kit? Where's your Garmin GPS unit? And I have all those things, I just can't carry them with me till I get the backpack. So I'm back on the parking lot today. Hopefully with the backpack coming in, I can get back out to the park tomorrow. I was a little shocked at how much distance I covered yesterday. And I'm going to push a little harder today because it's not nearly as humid. It's about 68, 69 degrees. The sun's mostly hiding behind clouds. I can feel that the humidity is way down. So I need to make hay while the sun's not shining, so to speak. But anyway, I have not asked her about mentioning who she is on my channel, so I'm not going to go that route. But once I have her permission, I will let you know who it is I'm actually talking to about building up for hiking, with the ultimate goal being the Appalachian Trail in 2025. Now, I did see a comment yesterday that said, "You're doing so good, the Appalachian Trail might happen sooner than you think." Well, I might be ready to attempt it sometime late next year. But, so basically a year from now. But you can't start the AT going either direction in November. And you just can't, you know, there's permits required, a lot of planning required. I'm hoping by then I've got a few subscribers that live near the Appalachian Trail that I can mail resupply boxes to and get them to meet me at a trailhead somewhere to stock up on stuff, because there's a lot of work to be done. If you watch every hiker out there, they eat just atrocious junk all day long. And one of the things I am out to prove is that you can long distance hike without eating all that junk. I think proving that the carnivore diet will fuel you for whatever you put your body through is a really good experiment. I don't know where all those cop cars were going, but there was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cop cars all rolling down the road together. They were going too fast for me to check the names on the side, but they sort of looked like Mount Olive cops that have been out there somewhere, and now they're all heading back home. Okay. So now where was I? Oh yeah. So getting out there and looking at the paleoanthropological studies shows this is not a fad diet. It is an ancestrally appropriate way of eating. And what are some of the things that we need to pay attention to, or at least be aware of? Don't necessarily have to pay attention to them. We just need to be aware of them. Let's take the lion, for example. You know, someone once asked Dr. Barry, you know, I'm not really working out, but I feel like my pants are getting looser and my shirts through the chest are getting tighter. Is it possible I'm putting on muscle without working out? Yes, it is. Let's take a look at a lion, what a lion does, you know, because they sleep basically 20 hours a day. When they get hungry, they go out and hunt down something, and then they eat as much of it as they can. They stuff themselves on whatever it is they've just taken down. And then, of course, what does the lion do? It goes to the gym and does some squats and lifts some weights. No, it takes a nap. It goes back to bed. So, other than the running it does when it's chasing down what it wants to eat, I wouldn't say a lion exercises, but if you watch a lion getting up from its nap and it starts to move around, it's literally rippling with muscle. Now, are you going to get shredded without exercise? You know, can you end up looking like Dr. Baker? No. No, if you want to look like Dr. Baker, you have to lift heavy things a long time. And you have to keep working at it. You won't end up looking like Dr. Baker just because you're eating a species-appropriate diet. But the little-known fact is that most of us actually have six-pack abs. You just can't see them because they're buried under a layer of fat. Or in my case, many layers of fat. Or, I don't know, it may just be one layer of fat, but those fat cells have gotten so big that it looks like multiple layers. And while we're losing fat, our muscle definition, because we're just eating protein and fat, our muscle definition will improve as the fat comes off. And that's why weight is such a terrible scale. See what I did there? It's a terrible way to judge your success. Because as we put on muscle and bone density, even if we lost a couple or 3 pounds of fat this week or this month, the muscle definition and bone density we put on is actually more than that. So if we're going strictly on the scale, there are going to be weeks where we improved, we got 1% better, but our weight actually went up. So the scale is not your friend. I mean, if you want to track, and you're one of these people like I used to be that had to jump on the scale every morning, as long as you understand it's going to go up and down and up and down, and you have to kind of track it on a graph so that you can see it is slowly but surely trending downward, then go right ahead. Just understand what you're up against. If you're just going to base things on the scale. So that was the story of the lion. And you know, it's been proven that exercise is not a good way to lose weight. Now, don't get me wrong, I exercise by walking every day, and I can feel the benefits of it. My walking is faster, I'm walking farther, I'm not having as much trouble talking to you while I walk. There are a lot of great benefits from exercise, but weight loss isn't one of them, for all of the reasons we've discussed already. And we've talked about this before. That's why, you know, with the show, like, you know, that show, The Biggest Loser, why they never had a reunion show, because everybody got fat again. Because you can only calorie restrict and work out that hard for a limited amount of time until your body just says, the heck with you, I'm done with that. I'm not going to get up and do that today. And all the screaming and yelling at yourself isn't going to make that happen. So while I believe exercise is very good for you, and I encourage each and every one of you to get out and do something, for pure fat loss, exercise is not required. And in fact, if all you're concentrating on is the scale, exercise is probably contraindicated. Because if you're doing some kind of exercise, you're going to put on some muscle that you didn't intend to, that's going to weigh more than that fat. But some of the things you can do, rather than exercise, just get outside in the morning. Feel the sun on your face. Feel the sun on your arms and your legs. Wear shorts and a t-shirt. Or if you're in an area where it's warm enough to do so, you can go shirtless. Or if you're a girl, wear a bikini to get as much skin exposed to the sun as you can. Now, don't stay out there so long you burn, but there's a lot of science out there that shows 20 to 30 minutes of sun first thing in the morning can really have a lot of great health benefits. It can help set your circadian rhythm so that your body knows, okay, this is the time we're getting up, and it resets your internal clock so that when it's time to go to bed, it's easier to fall asleep. And there's lots of other science behind this. Dr. Berry, I know Dr. Westman has one. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure Brett Shear over at the Diet Doctor has a couple of videos about sunlight first thing in the morning and circadian rhythms. So feel free to watch those. And get the science behind it all. What I'm going to say is getting out into the sun for 20 to 30 minutes a day is fantastic for you. I know while the sun has come out here, and I am slowly getting more warm because the sun is beating on me, I can also tell you that I feel better now 4 laps into this walk. 4 laps into this walk than I did when I started. The kids in the preschool love to say hi to me every time I walk by, and I'm sure you can hear them. But I am not going to catch, even if I accidentally catch them in the video while I'm turning the corner or something, I have to delete that part, because besides permissions, there's just a lot of problems showing kids in videos on YouTube. And I'm just not going to go there. But yeah, get some sunlight. Oh, there goes my note card. Oh! It's on kind of a hill there, so it's below my feet. It's hard to get down to it still. But I'm getting there. But as you feel the food, where you should feel the food. Best quote I found on this from Dr. Berry is, carnivore doesn't mess you up, it cleans you up. And what he was talking about there is he has had several patients and people on his Patreon that have been, he's been their go-to for advice. They're like, man, I went out and had a couple slices of pizza last night, and it tore me up. I felt sick for 15, 20, 24 hours after I ate that slice of pizza. And he gave this example. He said, if you go to an alcoholic who is still an alcoholic, not done the rehab and recovery, he's still drinking every day, and you hand him a 12-ounce can of beer and say, here, power that down. Now, do you feel any different? Well, no. An alcoholic that drinks alcohol every day is not going to feel any different. But the guy goes into rehab, gets cleaned up, and then a few years later, you say, now of course you would never do this. You never give alcohol to recovering alcoholics. But if you were to give that same person a 12-ounce can of beer and say, here, power this down, and they do, and then you say, now how do you feel? Well, they're going to feel like crap. They're going to be able to feel the difference that beer has made in their system. Same thing with food. Back when we all ate the standard American crap diet, we were so inflamed all the time that we could power down a whole pizza and it would not affect us at all, because extra inflammation, if you're already so inflamed that you can't feel anything, you're not going to notice. But after you've healed your metabolism and all the parts of your cells with the carnivore diet, then you go back and eat that slice of pizza, you're going to feel it pretty quick. And people have come to Dr. Barry and said, man, I think this carnivore diet has kind of messed me up, because I tried to eat all the stuff I used to eat and it makes me sick. I can't eat that stuff anymore. Well, that's exactly what I've been talking about. You have healed yourself so that now you can listen to your body, and when you eat something that your body doesn't really want, it's going to let you know about it real quick. So, the carnivore diet is not a fad diet. We don't need to add carbs into our diet. In fact, once we've been doing this long enough, we'll know exactly how our body reacts to carbs when we try to eat some. Just like seed oils, pretty much anything plant-based is going to mess with our system. I came in tight on the school bus to get into the shade for a minute so I can actually see my watch. Okay, we're getting there. I have a particular goal in mind for today. I don't know if I'll make it or not. We'll see. instead of going along the backside here, I'm going to head up towards my trailer where I've got my bottle of water sitting out because I really need a drink. I'm thirsty. And as we've talked about in many videos, when you're thirsty, you drink. And it's why she said it was dumb to go out on the trail without water in your backpack. So, for now, I'll have some more thoughts at the end, but cue the music. Okay, cut the music. Remember, carnivore diet is not a fad diet. It's not a temporary weight loss hack. It is a species appropriate way of eating for optimized health. The weight loss is just a side effect of all the other healing. And don't let anybody talk you out of that, because it's the absolute truth. Well, I recorded another couple of laps there. I'm not quite as far as I want to go yet today, but the video is going to be long enough as it is. So as I continue around the corner here, I just want to say, don't let anybody talk you out of what you know is true. Get outside, get some sunshine. You know, even if you can't walk very well, you know, if you're still using a walker or a cane, you can get outside. You know, even if you're in a wheelchair, you can get outside and sit in the sun for 20 minutes to a half hour. Get some sun on your body first thing in the morning. Try it for a week and see how you feel. I said, don't ever take my word for anything. Just do your own N=1 experiment and try things out. If it doesn't work for you, get down in my comments and say, sorry, Bob, but I didn't notice even a little bit of difference. Or if, as I suspect will happen, come back into my comments and say, you know, Bob, you were absolutely right. Getting that sun certainly helped me. I'm sleeping a little better. I have a little more energy throughout the day. I shouldn't have picked out here alongside the road to finish this video up. Sorry about that. I was just walking and talking. That's what I do. So my backpack hasn't been delivered yet, so I'll show you guys that in tomorrow's video, provided Amazon actually delivers it. You know how it goes when you're out in the country. Sometimes it says it's out for delivery, and then the Amazon driver just says, you know what, I'm not driving all the way out there today. And that happens when you're this far out in the middle of nowhere. But don't forget to be 1% better today. There should be a click box pop up over here that takes you to the entire October challenge. Another one over here on this side of the screen that hopefully you've never seen before if the YouTube is doing its job. But get out there, be 1% better today than you were yesterday. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you tomorrow.